Hello, everybody.
And welcome to Off the Cuff with Des and Zane.
I am your host, Carissa Des.
And I am your host, Zane Thomas.
And we have a special guest today, Finsta over here, local musical artist. I want to start off with, so I know that you were born in India and you came over here, and now I read when I was like looking at your bio and everything, that your music is queer music for queer people by queer people. Do you feel like
queer music?
Yes. So do you feel like in Indian culture that there's a lot of representation for the queer community?
In music, definitely not. I mean, this is something that I feel like, the wave is like kind of starting now, and that's something I feel it's like super exciting. I don't know, like my friend who I just like recently met, his name is Sid. He recently is like released a new song that's becoming pretty big. There's like a new like kind of studio that's coming up, Colors and J Block in Delhi.
Oh, wow.
So I'm like, I feel like it's literally happening as we speak, like the queer like wave in Indian music, but it's something that I don't personally know that much of a precedent for. And like I definitely in like certain folk traditions, like there's more representation and stuff like that. I mean, India's had queer people for like centuries.
Sure.
We've been around for a while.
Yeah. But it's just like as far as like mainstream pop music goes, it's like not something that, we might be some of the first. I don't know.
Yes. So it's important to you to be, represent for your culture, I think too, right?
100%. Yeah. No, I think it's something, it's also that's what I feel like is so exciting about this new like wave of queer music is like we have so much to draw on. It's like we're not just like creating something from scratch. Yeah.
In what ways do you feel like you're most effective in representing that queer culture?
Ooh, damn, that's a big question. I feel like, I'm a bit confused about it, honestly, because I'm part of like the diaspora. So I'm not like, technically like, indigenous, like born and raised in India in the sense that I came out here to study college. And
Where
so
do you study
definitely,
at?
I studied at Reed College.
Okay.
We don't talk about it.
People are always saying that whenever we try to talk about Reed College. We're like,
what happened at Reed?
Reed
There's like
traumatizes everyone who goes through it.
Yeah, there's some racism that happens.
Okay.
Some?
Well, now I'm learning.
A lot from what I've heard.
Yeah.
Fair enough.
There's a lot of shit that happens. At the end of the day, it's also just like a private liberal arts college, which means like it's gonna be off that. But yeah, no. So I came out here like 5 years ago at this point, and so I've been away for like some of my sort of formative years from India, and so that's why for me also personally, I feel like a lot of the music that really spoke to me that I found here was like diasporic, like Desi music, like people like MIA, people like Ravina.
Can I stop you and ask what is diaspora music?
Just
I
like
feel like I should be familiar with that. But
I guess just like any kind of music where it's like your roots are somewhere, but you're somewhere else, right? And I feel like that's something that it's so entrenched in Indian. I feel like most of what we look at as Indian culture abroad, like in America, is actually diaspora Indian. Like for instance, like Bhangra music, which is Punjabi trap. This was, my friend Anjali, she introduced me to this. It's really interesting. And like, it was born from like Punjabi people who moved to the UK or like Canada. And so music we think of as like Indian, typical Indian music is like actually born outside of India. And I think it's awesome because I feel like we shouldn't be so like attached to just like, the soil because like we are like moving always. So
yeah.
We're all connected and everything. So
Yeah.
Anjali and the Kid are who I actually went to go see. And I listened to one of your songs before I showed up because I like to like listen to like get a feel for the other artists. And I was just very surprised at your presence. You're very energetic, and it, like everybody, a lot of people in the audience like knew the lyrics to your songs and everything. I feel like you have a big following in the queer community, especially. Do you feel like the community is pretty supportive of you and your music here in Portland?
I feel like it's a mixed bag, honestly. The people who were there in that show, I remember those were a lot of like the Reed folks. And that's why I like the song we played in the beginning, Discotheque Bibli. It's like that's one of the songs that kind of was like a little phenomenon at Reed because it was like about like how we're always fucking studying and like discotheque, bibliothèque. It's like cute. And so people really loved that song. They came through, they loved that one. I feel like it's only after I graduated and left Reed that I discovered the queer community here, and that's something that I'm still doing. It's just it's hard. I feel like Portland has a really strange queer scene. Like it's not like other cities where there's like been a very clear like okay, there's like a ballroom scene that like is just like this. Like the House of Ada and stuff are just popping off in this way.
Mhm.
It's been like the last 10 years maybe, and so I feel like it's kind of scattered, and that's something I've been trying to navigate. But I mean, even for Pride, right? Like if you like, what are the gay bars? There's like just like a handful.
Yeah, I
You
feel
know,
like almost everybody I know in Portland is queer in
that's
some
the
way.
thing.
So
They
Yeah.
better be.
That's what's confusing to me. It's like there
Yeah.
are so many like we're all queer supposedly, but
Yeah.
there's no like
They're just called bars here.
they're just okay, period. Yeah, that's
95%
true.
of the people you meet at bars are at
Yeah.
least bi, which is
Yeah.
great. I love it.
It's true.
Love whoever you want to love.
Yeah,
Mhm.
yeah. So like as far as using like your I guess your influences like I noticed that you have a lot of like trap influences and stuff like that.
Mhm.
You'd mentioned kind of like did you say Punjabi trap music?
Mhm,
Is that
that's
kind of where that influence comes from? Because yeah, it's not a style that I had heard before or even heard of. So
Yeah. I mean, it's interesting. I feel like Punjabi trap music itself is already so mixed up. It's like feeding on like, old school, like, hip hop, but it's also coming out of like grime and jungle in the UK, right? That's where it
okay.
was born. Um, these are all genres that I definitely heard a lot of growing up. I mean, I was like raised on the internet. So for me, it's like music is like just all these different genres put together. I remember when I first started producing, I was into like electronic, but at the time I was also like playing in a jazz band and
Oh
stuff.
wow.
So it's like, it's kind of mixed, but definitely the Indian influences. I mean, there's a lot of Bhangra influence. I have an upcoming album, and like that one, it's also, I'm using a lot of samples from Bhangra, but it's also like, I'm originally from South India, so Tamil Nadu. So in my Jimmy Vogue EP, there's a song Meetha Boy, Kansi Girl. That one, it's all sampling South Indian, what's called Ghana drums, which is like a traditional
Yeah,
style.
that's what I was going to ask you about next. That was my next question.
Mhm,
It seems
yeah.
like your what's it called? Like your drums and
Mhm.
your instruments sound unique and different than a lot of
Thank
mainstream
you.
American music. Do you what types of instruments do you use? One and two, do you play any of the instruments that are in your songs, or do you have other people that you
Uh-huh.
collaborate with?
So this is,
On
yeah. I'm like, I sample most of that shit. I'm not playing most of that shit.
That's okay too. That's what I'm
Yeah.
gonna do
Right,
when I
yeah.
make my song.
Right.
Yeah.
Wait for it, guys.
It's hard. I mean, like, I'm also just like broke, so I don't have like I can't afford like big
A
instruments and
studio
stuff.
musician to come in and play a
That's what I'm
cello.
saying.
Tell me
Yeah,
about
it's
that.
literally me and my laptop. Like, I have a USB mic that I got like a few months ago, and that's like helping me
Hey,
get through this
step up.
album.
Yeah.
But we do.
Well,
Mhm.
we have space here, and I would love to let you borrow one of our microphones too.
Yeah,
Period.
absolutely.
Get even a
Okay.
little upgrade.
Okay.
Where did
On
you
the show.
where did you record your last album? I think your last album came out in 2020, right?
Yeah, this
Okay.
was. I guess it was last year. Wait, is this 2022?
2020?
Yeah, we're 2022
It
right
was
I
like,
can't
don't
believe
ask me,
it. I
could
can't
not
believe
tell
it.
you.
No.
2021 went by so quickly.
Yeah, no,
It was rough and it went by quickly.
It was rough.
Thankfully.
No, it was 2020. I guess last year, September, October is when I released Jimmy Vogue, which is like an EP. It was my first EP. I was all like my bedroom, my garage. Like it
Wow.
was
Wow,
not
the sound is really good. You have
Yeah.
cute.
very good acoustics in your
Yeah,
garage.
I feel like, yeah, no, I had a friend help out with literally someone who was in the Delhi scene, and he kind of introduced me to the Delhi scene. His name is 3BHK. Big shout out, 3BHK, Abhishek. He's amazing. Without him, like he heard that project and he was like, I'm gonna handle like mixing and mastering on this.
Wow.
Don't
Yeah,
worry
that
about
stuff
it.
makes so much of a difference.
Yeah, and he took care of all that. He's taking care of the upcoming EP also. He's helping me like mix and master and produce on that. So he's big love to him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you were talking about producing. Is that something you did out of necessity or out of a desire to create music and also create lyrics?
It's a mix, definitely. I mean, I started like at a young age when I first got into music, I was definitely interested by how all the sounds come together. And I feel like when you're in a jazz band or when you're in a band, like a real instrument bands, like you don't have the access to that because you can't play all the instruments,
Yeah, absolutely.
right? But like production gives you so much like control over that in like a really empowering way.
Sure.
And so I feel like now that's something I really enjoy doing is like just being able to see how things interact and stuff. I mean, for me, it was also like I got back into producing, like when Finsta kind of started like 3 years ago, it was about disco. And disco is like all about arrangement, right? And like how sounds like harmonized and stuff. Yeah. So I think it's like, yeah, a mix of both.
Yeah. So you started off as a disco dancer, right? Or was
Yeah.
it kind of like when you started creating music, you would dance along with it? Or I just
Yeah.
like saw on your profile the first thing
The
was
disco
disco
dancer.
dancer.
I mean, it's not as
we're
much.
all disco dancers at some point.
That's the
though.
thing. Yeah, that's the bit. It's like,
In my heart.
yeah, I feel like that's what it is. Like I wasn't like a formal, like a professional like disco dancer or anything. I just love disco. I love dancing. I feel like all of my music, I really want it to be danceable because I don't know. There's also something about how
it is very danceable, by the way.
that's all I want. That's all I need.
When I went to your show at Star Theater, that's where it was, right? Star Theater. Yeah. I was wearing like huge, like 6-inch platforms, and I was getting down.
I saw you. I saw you. No, that was
like, there's no way that I can't dance.
It was fun. No, that's what it is. It's like I feel like disco really showed us how music can be like danceable, political, everything. Because like that's the other thing is like disco music was very political. It was coming out of Stonewall, and so I feel like that's something that really amazes me is you can make music that's hard hitting and political, but it's also just fun. Like it's fun for like, especially for like POCs or queer people to like dance to. Yeah.
Definitely.
So how's like the story of Stonewall kind of empowered you in the way that you express your music?
Ooh, damn. I have that song, Stonewall. I feel like in the process of making that song, I really wanted to make sure I understood what was going on back then. So I was like doing a lot of reading back then about Stonewall. And the more I learned, the more it's just kind of stayed with me. Is like, it was not an event that was remotely like what we think Pride is today, right?
Yeah, it was a riot.
It was a fucking riot. It was a fucking riot. Like there were bricks being thrown. There was like all sorts of shit being thrown. There were people yelling at the cops over there because the cops were like persecuting, especially like the trans women of color.
They were like hitting the trans women, right?
Yeah, and like the best part. I mean, I feel like the part that really astounded me the more I read about it is like there was nothing new about what was happening there. Everyone knew.
This is like normal. This is just now we hear about it.
Yeah. And they knew so much about it. That's why they started like making fun of the cops and like booing them. And so I feel like that's something
kind of like fuck the police, you know, where it's just like you guys
would never say fuck 12 around here. Never.
Not on this show.
Never I could be. Sorry. I've asked if there's something I can't say.
No. We're kidding. Actually, there's a little logo that says fuck 12. It looks like Fox 12, but
have you seen the tattoo on my ass?
Wait, okay, we're good.
All right, let's keep it PG here.
No,
you can
literally though, I was hired for. It was really funny. I was hired for a high school performance 2 months ago.
Wow.
Shout out to that high school.
I was just listening to some of your music, and that would have been interesting.
Yeah, I had to like censor most of it. I think there were only like 2 songs I could perform.
Did you do the like beep it out or like?
Instead of cunty, I had to be like cutie. Instead, it was pretty terrible.
Cutie girl.
But it was so cute. There's like
it's basically the same song. I mean, different connotations, but
cutie versus like
the same level.
So I also saw that you want to take or like one of your how am I wording this? One of the things that you want to do is take back these words for the queer community. And I don't even like saying the word cunt. I'm saying it now because it's in your song. It's but and there are other words that that are important for you to take back for the queer community. Like even the word queer, I think, is something that used to be derogatory, and now it's widely used. And that's like instead of saying gay, that's what I say for everybody. So when you first started producing music and making music, was like, do you feel like things have changed when it comes to like, you know, the language that we use for the LGBTQ community?
I mean, that's the thing is like when I first started producing, I was way young. I didn't see myself as queer back then. I feel like I've only really transitioned in the past like few years, honestly. It's because I've like finally felt stable enough here in the US away from like India because it's really rough in India. And I'm going back there soon, so I'm not sure how it's going to be. But yeah, definitely when I started making music here, I feel like that's something that was very like clear to me is like that's what I should be doing. Like I'm not just like gonna make some kind of music. Like I'm making this for a reason, and that's the whole disco bit, right? I feel like At the same time, though, like stuff like cunt, being cunt and cunty, it's like that's just ballroom. Like they've been using the word, and this is why like I feel it's ballroom and disco that kind of showed me what I can do with music and queerness. Disco on the one hand because that's something that was very indigenous, like Indian also. Like we took disco and made it our own thing, so I felt like comfortable doing that in Hindi. But ballroom, like Jimmy Vogue, BEP is like all ballroom. I owe everything to like the ballroom community that I found like in the US.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So when you say ballroom, sorry.
No. I
just have a lot of questions.
I'm curious. Yeah.
No, for sure.
Let's hear it.
So what is ballroom? Like when I think of ballroom, I think of ballroom dancing, but like the type of music, it's like a genre. Okay. So
oh wait, like
yeah. I'm not as familiar with it either.
So
period.
Okay.
I'm thinking of like waltzing and.
Oh no. Okay, this is. Okay, yeah. I always have to explain this. Ballroom, like Vogue Femme, like balls, like the House of Ada, the House of. We have the House of Extravaganza. Y'all familiar with like Paris is Burning? Legendary.
Familiar with Paris.
Okay,
and burning separately. Though.
No, this is like a whole. Oh yeah, there's a whole queer community.
Fill me in. No, it's I'm here to learn.
Yeah, no, y'all gotta look this up. I feel like ballroom community has been part of like the U.S. So ballroom broke away from drag in I want to say the 60s and 70s. So basically, there were some people in particular. There was actually one trans woman called Crystal LeBeja who was part of the the drag scene. And they were getting increasingly sick of how the drag scene became more and more like just racist. And they would just like Black queens would not win the drag competitions because they had to like make their appearance fair to win. And they were just never getting picked. So they broke away from the drag scene and made what's called ballroom today.
Oh,
okay. Yeah, and so that's
How
like.
have I not known about this?
Yeah.
I feel ashamed.
Y'all gotta get on to
that. We're here to learn.
Yeah, like Madonna Vogue, the song, right? That's like from she like very much she hired ballroom dancers. Yeah,
kind of like the show Pose. I feel like
Pose is all about ballroom. Yeah, yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So Pose, Legendary is like a
I
dance
love that show. Oh my god.
Yeah, no. So the houses that you have in Pose, those are based on real life houses that exist.
Okay, so I do know about
a little bit. Yeah, I'm the only one who doesn't know.
I was like, wait a second.
Keep watch Pose.
Yeah, get on it.
Keep up.
Is it on Netflix? No. So yeah, like as far as like music production and stuff like that, like did you start off at like at a younger age playing these instruments, or is this like more of a newer thing that you've picked up? Because it's like I really enjoy the production that you have. Just like it's really as far as like kind of like multi-genre, I guess, where it's like fusion, where there's just like there's a lot going on, and it's like but it's all going together very well.
Thank you.
No, I'm really impressed by it. So it's like, is that something that you started off, and you grew into, and you're like, oh, I guess I'll kind of bring this, or is it?
Yeah, I feel like it's I have been doing music from a young age. I feel like, as I mentioned, I was like, when I was like 13, 14, I pirated like FL. And like was just messing around on
FL
it.
Studio, there you go. That's how you know you're a real one.
Back in the day, yeah. And then I was like in a jazz band for a while. I was like a bassist, and I feel like jazz kind of taught me harmony.
Was it like formal jazz training or?
No, this was. Like we were just kind of fucking around.
Your friends,
like,
just friends who were just like, let's make some jazz.
Yeah,
okay, gotcha.
And we kind of. I took a long break from essentially like producing and stuff, music in between, where actually. It's funny. I got into classical. I don't talk about this too much.
Ballroom. Okay. I guess.
Oh, we learn stuff on the show all the time. So.
We came back around.
Yeah. Yeah.
So you played classical music, or you played?
Kind of. Yeah. I like. It's like a period of my life we don't talk too much about because like I feel like
cool.
It's cute, but I feel like classical music is full of incels, bro, and like that's what kicked me out. I feel like
that's true.
Yeah. It's like all these people who like feel like
I didn't know that. That's
the vibe I get. I might be okay. Maybe I'm just like giving shade to
I might be generalizing one person that I met. All classical music. Mozart was an incel.
No. Period. Though they were all like in their bedrooms, just
yeah. I do feel like they're more introverted.
This is all their fault.
From the ones who have I met. I haven't even met a lot of classical musicians because they're in the room writing music.
That's what I'm saying. Composer in a cave. That whole stereotype.
We love classic music. We're not trying to stereotype, but
I am.
I am too. I mean, yeah. I don't know. That I feel like I got a lot from that because with classical, they do emphasize like formal training.
Mm-hmm.
I didn't ever have a teacher. I just kind of
It's
like,
very exclusionary, I guess, in that sense of just like, do you have enough to get the
yes.
lessons? All right, I guess you're not classical.
No, that's exactly what honestly like drove me out of it. Is like I feel like it was so exclusionary, so classist. Like I didn't see any Indians like who composed stuff that I could like do anything with, you know?
Mm-hmm.
And so for me, what I got from classical was just like the formal training that I could just look up from books and learn by myself. And the moment I could get out, I was out. And like when I was able to apply what I learned from there to
Sure.
something that I can actually share with a community that I know, I was like, okay, period, I'm doing that. I'm not doing
Yeah.
this anymore.
So you started off kind of doing jazz as like a kind of a self-study thing with friends, and then you were kind of decided to further it a little bit more and be like, okay,
Yeah.
so classical is where I'm going to need to figure out the technical part of it.
Right.
So when you went to college, did you go to college for music?
Oh no.
No.
I just
Ooh,
came
okay.
here to
Just
liberal
to
art.
rock out.
Yeah, I mean I
do
was
it.
doing like I don't know how much I want to talk about my major. I came here to do like math and philosophy.
Okay.
But we had like various turns. I mean, you go to a liberal arts college, you lose all your sense of like purpose and self, you know? It's like a whole thing. And then and then you end up working service. So
Well, I mean, that was going to happen anyways.
yeah, in this economy.
Yes.
Yeah.
So yeah, like that was so it sounds like your entire journey through music has been like a very self-starting style of thing, right? Where it's just like, you know, with your friends you kind of had to do it there, then you decided that you were going to do classical, and then anything that you learned from beyond that point, if you weren't learning it through school, that was just like just your devotion to being like,
You're
I
like,
want to
okay.
create something really cool.
I mean, definitely, yeah. I feel like a mix of just being like, this is really cool. I want to learn it. And also, especially since coming here, I feel like the other reason I left classical is there like are music communities here. I was doing classical, honestly, I feel like out of more like of a sense of like loneliness, out of like I couldn't find like a musical community for me. And then the moment I came here and found like things like ballroom, things like disco, I was like, wait, no, there are like living communities where I can learn from. I don't have to like just hide in my room and learn like music theory. I can like
Yeah.
make music for people to dance to. And like it's also like clubs, like seeing people dance in clubs.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Is there a specific artist who has inspired you either in the Indian, like Indian culture, or like an Indian artist or American artist that kind of sticks out? Where you're like
Sticks
growing
out.
up that inspired you to make music.
The artists that I love growing up are definitely not the ones who I like anymore, influenced me. I mean, I used to listen to like a lot of run of the mill like hip hop, a lot of run of the mill like Bollywood music, I didn't listen to that much disco, but it was
What is run-of-the-mill Bollywood?
I mean, just like your classic Bollywood. I used to listen
Stuff
like
that's common in where
yeah,
you're
I
from.
mean,
Okay.
Bollywood, I don't know if y'all know, like all Bollywood movies are musicals. So
Yeah,
like
Yeah,
all
I've gathered that.
yeah,
Yeah.
you
My
know,
mom loves
they
musicals.
break
She's
out
like,
into like a
Bollywood, what?
yeah.
They're talking, and then all of a sudden they start singing and dancing.
Yes, exactly.
It's
That's
beautiful
This is
to
what I
listen.
feel most movies are missing.
Yes.
period. I came here and I was like, "Where's the what?"
When did they start singing?
Yeah, but
This Titanic movie's sad.
I mean, throughout my life, when I'm hanging out with friends, I'm constantly dancing.
Yeah,
They're just
yeah.
like, what are you doing? Like,
You say it's
knocking
not
us out.
realistic, but you don't live my life.
Exactly.
Life imitates art. Yeah.
But yeah, so you were influenced by Bollywood.
Yeah, I would say, I mean, like, honestly, now there's definitely like names and like people who in the past like 5 years I've been listening to a lot of and influence. I mean, people like Cakes the Killer. He's an amazing rapper. He showed me
Cakes
that.
the Killer?
Yeah, Cakes the Killer. He's like a
Like
part
an
of.
Indian rapper?
No, he's like
Oh,
American.
from
He's
here.
from.
Okay. Well, I'll have to check
Where's
it
he
out.
from?
You know about him?
No, I don't. No,
Okay.
you're good.
That's the
You're
only
good.
one.
I think he's from New York. I think he's from the East Coast. Don't quote me on this. I feel like okay. Well, he's
He
amazing.
watches.
Yeah,
So.
he's
Love this
amazing.
post.
No, he's like ballroom. He's very like he's like a queer rapper, and he's
Oh,
like
okay.
he showed me like you can do rap within the ballroom scene and be like on your bars. You know, I feel like a lot of ballroom is just emphasizing like commentary so people can dance, but he like kind of made it into like this rap art also. Other than that, I feel like there's people like MIA, Sophie, the producer, who's trans woman, like, just doing her thing in her bedroom, making crazy sounds.
Yeah.
Love her.
And I guess like so let's say like Cakes the Killer.
Mhm.
Cakes?
Cakes like cake.
Cakes.
Cake.
Cakes the Killer.
Like
Cakes.
cakes.
That's
The boy Scout cakes.
this person sounds awesome.
Yeah.
So
I
like
like his
what
name.
what specifically about their style, influences you? Like, why would you say that you connected with them and you're like, I want to kind of create something that's similar to that?
Yeah, I mean, just being just being super like, I don't know. I feel like aggressive and like queer. I feel like this is what I was missing. Is
I
like,
like that aggressively queer
yeah,
vibe.
and I feel like that's the thing is like for a lot of us, I feel like growing up, we would have our sort of hip hop or like angry like or like flexing side, and then we'd have our queer side, which was like an intimate like secret life, romantic,
Yeah.
like cute, and it's all about who we love or who we're like fucking on the side. And like I feel like at least for me that was my experience, and like I feel like putting them together took the longest time, like being able to like brag about like fucking some dude when I was a guy, or like just being
This is
trans right now.
awesome. Yeah.
Yeah, and like because otherwise it's like, who are you? There was no audience who I could brag to about it. It's like, who am I bragging
Yeah.
to? Like those
Oh,
people, they're not
yeah.
gonna take it as a brag. They're gonna be like, you're
Yeah.
dissing yourself.
Yeah. No,
So
I think that's really cool just that you were able to find like a style of music that like combined, just kind of like that aggressive part of hip hop and the true to self, queer part
yeah,
of, your experience, and being able to put that, because yeah, I was listening to some of your music and I was just like, yeah, like I appreciate that this is something that I can't find anywhere else, like it's
Very
not
unique.
that, yeah, exactly.
hmm
I
In a good
can't
way.
just open up Spotify and be like 50 rappers that sound like this person, and
Yeah.
that I think that that's really,
thank
people are
you.
able to enjoy that because they know that they can go to you for a specific feeling and connection that they can't create with
Right,
another artist.
Yeah.
thank you.
Like Lil Nas is like, it's like they
Yeah.
talk.
He's aggressively queer too. You know what? In our
Mm-hmm.
band, Queer Enclave, we need
Queer
to be
Enclave.
aggressively queer. We
Yes.
need to bring that too.
No, I got
bring
a
that
band.
bring that energy.
Yes, bring that in.
Mhm.
Yes.
There's a band called Queer Enclave.
We're going to
Doesn't
start
it
one.
sound like a pretty sweet band
We
though?
will have. We do.
Damn.
We haven't made any music for it
Yeah,
yet,
yeah.
but
But we have a name, and that's part of it.
Okay, that's
it's a good
big.
start.
Oh wait, we got the plans. Okay, yeah. Hit me
Yeah,
up.
yeah.
Hit me up on that launch.
Hey, we need an enclave. This isn't a two-person
Mhm.
band.
Mhm.
There's chainmail
You can
shirts.
try
It'll
out
be
for our
great.
crew.
Period. Damn.
So we have a few more minutes. Did you have anything that specifically that you wanted to
I honestly, I just wanted to say, like, I appreciate what you do, and just the
Thank
amount of like
you.
research that you put into it, the amount of openness and vulnerability that you put into your music. Like that's, we were talking about it on another podcast, but like, like in music, it's possible to just be like, oh, I love you, and you is this generalized, you haven't really made yourself vulnerable. You just said, I love you. But if you say like, I
Yeah.
love him, I love her, I love them, if you use any of these terms, like, like it becomes more specific. So it's like the fact that you are addressing these things and making sure that there's no gray area. There's no like, I wonder what they're
Mhm.
talking
Not like
about.
Elton John,
It's like, no,
where he's
it's
like talking about his
yeah,
lover.
rocket
Yeah.
I have
person,
sex
and you're
with
like, what is
them
going
or
on?
Yeah.
trans people. Yeah.
Yeah.
We are not queer baiting.
Yeah,
Like
yeah,
we
yeah.
are queer.
Yeah, you're just like, nope, I told you. I made this
Yeah.
very
Not
clear.
sugarcoating it. Yes.
But yeah,
Um,
yeah, I just appreciate everything you do
Thank
as
you.
far as that. So yeah, thank you for representing.
No,
Yes,
for
yes, we
sure.
appreciate it for sure. And I just found out that you're part of our community recently too.
We just found out recently?
Yeah, I didn't know until
Pretty sure I said
you
it.
kept like mentioning it, but we'll talk more about that later.
All right.
Period.
So the last
Yeah.
thing that I have or that I want to ask is you have an album coming out. Do you have any
Mhm.
other things that you want to tell the world about, because the
World
world
about?
listens to our
Yeah.
watches
They
our
are.
show.
They
Do you
absolutely
want
do.
to tell them, like, to promote your next
Uh-huh.
show or your next
For sure.
Next
album?
project.
Next project.
So I'm not going to be doing probably any more shows in the States, unfortunately, because I'm going back to India in August, I guess. I'm moving back to Delhi.
Oh, you're moving back? We're gonna miss
I'm
you.
Yeah,
No.
no, I'm
But
fully like
you
an
get to be with
immigrant.
your
Yeah.
family though.
And we
Yeah.
still get your
Damn.
music, so
Yes, we still get
You
to
do.
listen to
Not a
your
loss.
And I'm
music.
gonna come out on tour. Fly me out. Fly me out.
Yeah. Queer
come through.
Enclave
Yeah, once you start making
opens
money.
opens
Yes.
for
Yes, we'll open
Finsta.
for you.
Period. No. So yeah, I'm gonna be moving out to Delhi, but around the same time that I'm moving out to Delhi, I'm hoping to drop kind of the actual debut album.
The
And
W album is what it's called.
I mean,
Okay.
well, so yeah, I mean the
Debut.
first, yeah.
Oh, debut.
Oh,
Okay. Do
sorry.
you know
Yep,
the
you're
Indian
name of
accent.
it? Sorry, the mask.
Yeah, no, you're good.
Do you have a name for the album yet, or is it still?
Yeah,
is
it looks like it's
secret?
gonna be Cunty Girl. It's like a play
Oh,
off of
okay.
like the Meeta Boy Cunty Girl album. It's just focusing on, because I've transitioned much more. Back then I was like more non-binary.
Mm.
Now I'm just like a trans bitch. But I
They
feel
them pronouns or
so yeah, that's the thing is I use
I
they
saw
them.
it on your Instagram, so I
Yeah.
just wanted to make sure that we were
I
being
still use they them for
respectful.
performing because I just want to keep them on their toes.
Yeah,
But
funny.
I feel like, yeah, that album, it's actually punk. It's like punk and metalish. It's
Oh,
like,
nice.
yeah, it's very different. I was very influenced by like the Riot Girl. I was listening to a lot of that. I tend to like listen to like old music and get inspired.
Sure.
And yeah, so that album, honestly, it's just really angry, really political. It's like very much like in the line of like Stonewall,
Mhm.
because honestly, like past year has been like the roughest. And
Yeah.
so yeah, it's all about that. Oh shoot, are we?
Oh, no, we're
All right.
We're
totally
still
fine.
on.
We're totally fine.
Okay.
All right. Well, we
Uh-huh.
are very excited to hear your new
Mhm.
music,
Yes,
and
absolutely.
good luck on your travels back
Thank you so
to
Yes,
much.
India. We will miss
Mhm.
you, but we'll still be listening to your music.
absolutely.
If you're watching, listening right now, make sure you follow Finsta. How can
Mhm.
and your Finsta baby girl on
I'm Finsta
Instagram.
baby girl, but girl with 3 R's like Riot Girl. So I should have a better handle that's easier to say. But it's Finsta
We'll
baby
find it.
girl on
Yeah, and
Instagram.
we'll shout you out and add your
Mhm.
tags and everything like
Absolutely.
that.
Thank you.
Yes, I'm
Thank you.
Carissa Des. Carissa Des on Instagram.
And I am at It's Zane Thomas on Instagram.
And make sure you follow so you know of our upcoming projects and
Cool
episodes that are
hand
coming
movement,
out. And
movements,
like, yes.
movements.
Uh,
Let's do it.
all right. Well, this has been another
Podcaster.
episode of Off the Cuff with Des and Zane. I'm Carissa Des.
I'm Zane Thomas.
We're signing out. This is our special guest, Finsta. Check
Bye-bye.
them out on social media and on
To
Spotify.
keep them on their toes, you know?
Yes,
Absolutely.
keeping me on my toes. And Finsta on Spotify as well, right? Do you have a
Mhm.
YouTube channel?
Kind
we do.
of.
Make
I
sure
don't.
you
I'm not that active, but yeah, yeah. YouTube.
on YouTube as well.
Check
All
it out.
right.
Yeah.
Peace, love, donuts, everyone. We
Pew
love
pew.
you. See you next time.